Hi, third graders. Welcome back to Introduction of Fractions. Today, we are going to be looking at equal shares, part 1. Think about your favorite treats. I love brownies and chocolate chip cookies. But if Mrs. Curry and Mrs. Cunningham came over, I would want to share my brownie with them. So I would make sure I would give each of us equal shares. Throughout the examples today, I want you to think about what happens to the pieces as the denominator increases. Remember, the denominator is the bottom number of a fraction, the whole amount.
Okay guys, so today we're going to be looking at 3 unit fractions. A unit fraction is a fraction where the numerator, that's the number on top, is 1, and then your denominator is any whole number. So a unit fraction, remember your numerator, the number on top is 1, and your denominator is a whole number. So what I have here is a brownie.
Oh, I love brownies.
And Ms. Terzini and I are going to share this brownie.
Thank you.
So I'm going to get 1/2, she is going to get 1/2. But we have to make sure our halves are equal because I don't want to have a smaller piece than what she has.
So each piece has to be the same size.
Absolutely.
Great.
So as I split this, I think it looks, does it look fair?
Yes, I think it looks fair. I think it looks like we each are going to have the same amount of brownie.
Okay, so I'm
That's
going to
good.
split it. Ms. Terzini will get a half.
Thank you.
And I will get 1/2.
Thank you.
If I had to do this with a piece of paper, I would fold the piece of paper
In half.
in half.
Okay.
This is 1/2. This is the other 1/2. So for our first example, our unit fraction was 1/2. Remember, in a unit fraction, the numerator is always 1. The denominator, your whole, how many pieces you have all together, that is a whole number. We have the words written, 1/2, and then we have a visual, 1/2.
How about if I cut that paper brownie in half to show them as well? Let's practice. So then each piece is the same amount.
Absolutely.
1/2 and 1/2 makes one whole brownie.
So my next unit fraction is going to be 1/4. That means that I'm going to have 4 pieces all together. One of the pieces will be shared. So we're going to share our brownie amongst each other and our friend Mr. Menino. We miss you, Mr. Menino.
Yes.
So I am going to try my best to split this brownie into 4 equal parts. We will each get 1/4 of a piece.
Can I ask you a question, Mrs. Cunningham?
Absolutely.
So if we are now sharing that brownie between 4 people, does that mean each piece will be smaller than our 1/2 piece?
Food for thought. Literally food for thought. I'm going to think so. Before, there were only 2 of us, so we each had a pretty big piece. Now, if we have to give Miss Curry a piece and Mr. Menino, I think our pieces might be a little
A
smaller.
little smaller.
Okay, so
That's
I'm going to
okay,
take
though.
our halves that have already been split into 2 equal parts. And now you're going to split yours with Miss Curry. I'm going to split mine with Mr. Menino. So now I'm going to split these into 4ths. Does it look equal?
That sure does.
Okay, I'm going to split it right here. Then I'm going to split this half right here. So now we have 4 equal pieces. Oh, so think about when they were 2 equal pieces, how big the pieces were. Now we have 4 equal pieces. And then I'm gonna have Miss Terzini.
So I take my whole brownie and first I fold it in half. So that gives me 2 halves. And then what I do is, once I fold it in half, I fold it in half one more time. So then when I open it up, I should have 4 equal pieces to share. I'm going to cut them out to see if that works. May I use the scissors?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. So I'm first going to cut it in half, right on the fold line, and then I'm going to cut each half in half one more time, and that should we should end up with 4 equal parts. Mrs. Cunningham, would you mind holding 2?
So while you're at home, I want you to think about how our halves looked and how our fourths now look. So, and then I've also split the brownie so that
Okay,
you
I'll
can
hold
actually compare.
Okay.
These were our halves. So I had 1 as my numerator, 2 as my denominator. So my denominator for 1/2 was 2. My unit fraction for 1/4, my denominator was 4. So remember, we said we want you to think about what happens to the piece as our denominator gets larger or increases. You guys should be thinking to yourselves, my piece is getting
That's okay, I like sharing.
okay. I do too. So now for our last unit fraction, this is the biggie. Our last unit fraction is 1/8. My numerator is 1, my denominator is 8. I have 1/8 written here, and then I have an example where there are 8 equal pieces. 1 piece is what you would get if you were to share this with 7 other friends. Okay?
So 8 people are going to share 1 brownie now?
8 people are going to share 1 brownie.
Okay, let's see how that's
Sharing
done.
is caring.
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to start with this 1 brownie. I'm going to first split it into halves.
And then I bet I know what you're going to do next.
What am I going to do?
You're going to split each half in half again.
I am. I'm going to split. So this was actually our first unit fraction, 1/2. Now I'm going to split each half into half. This was our second unit fraction. It was 1/4. Now if I have to split this into 8 pieces, I am going to make a horizontal split right down the middle. I just want to make sure if we're going to share that everybody has the same piece. So my denominator in this is 8, 1/8. Think about the size if you get 1/8 of a piece. So if you were going to share this between 8 people, this is the piece you would get. Remember at home, I want you to think about what is happening to your piece as your denominator increases.
Should I give it a try?
Yep.
All right, so first with my paper brownie, I'm going to fold my brownie in half. So now I have 2 halves. And now I'm going to fold it in half again. But then I'm going to fold it down in half this time. So when I open it up, I should have 8 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts.
And each part will be 1/8. So now I'm going to give it over to Mrs. Curry. She is going to tell you what you need to do for your assignment.
Hi guys, you guys are going to be going on to Seesaw and you're going to be seeing the activity that Miss Cunningham and Miss Terzini just did. There's going to be a worksheet that's going to ask you to split my brownies that are on my paper into halves, into fourths, and into eighths. So I want to see that you guys know what we just talked about. So check in on Seesaw and see if you see that activity. Also, make sure you check back tomorrow for the second part of this activity. Bye, guys.